Senator Udall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to my good friend Senator Barrasso, Wyoming is a producer state. New Mexico is also a producer state. And I found the same experience that Senator Kerry's talked about in terms of Massachusetts. In New Mexico, the fastest growing sector are these renewable jobs. And so I think it's a big opportunity for us. We should be pursuing it. I agree with what he just said. And I hope that we can work with each other because we should try to pull together and discuss the facts and really pursue this sector that is going to be so vital to the future and vital actually to job growth. But John, great, great to have you here. You've really earned this. There's no doubt about it. It's great to see Teresa and Vanessa. And I was walking over my second time back here and I saw the cutest grandchild I'd seen in a long time. I said, "Are you going to bring him in?" And they said, no, he was going to wait outside. But anyway.
Publicity shy.
He said, in my observation here in my short period on the Foreign Relations Committee, I think a great deal of what good foreign policy about is building personal relationships and building personal relationships with leaders around the world. And the one thing that I've really observed, Senator Kerry, of you is that you've done that. And we've had so many of these private meetings across over there in the Capitol in the small foreign relations room, and I could just feel with meeting with all these leaders the tremendous respect that they have for you and the ability you're going to have to build on that to make an excellent Secretary of State. So I'm very excited about this opportunity for you, and I want in my first question here, I wanted to focus on Mexico and Central America. During the last decade, relations between the United States and Mexico have strengthened as a result of our shared security goals relating to the Merida initiative. And one of the pillars of that initiative includes judicial reform, and I think you know this very well. However, the federal government and many of the Mexican states have yet to pass legislation which would change their judicial system from an inquisitorial system to an adversarial system. I had a lot of experience with this as a state attorney general a ways back. We actually would meet every 6 months with Mexican states, and they ask us to loan people to them to help train in the adversarial system. And so my question is, how can the U.S. better work with our neighbors in Mexico to improve transparency, efficiency, and the quality of the judicial system and improve this transition they're trying to make from inquisitorial to an adversarial system?
Well, Senator Udall, first of all, thank you for your generous comments.
Yes.
I very much appreciate them and appreciate working with you on a lot of these issues. We are engaged now, I think, and you know this. I mean, there are ongoing efforts with respect to the justice system. There's been a lot of focus, as you know, on guns and narcotics and so forth, and there's been a shift in policy within Mexico. The president was, recently here for meetings, and my hope is that we can keep, I want to keep the existing efforts going, which could become subject to the sequestration and budget efforts. So I guess we're going to have to convince our colleagues of the importance of these kinds of initiatives actually taking root and having the willingness to kind of stay at them until we do get more results. Mexico's been under siege, and everybody knows that, and it's been very, very difficult. A lot of courage exhibited by military folks and the police. I think there's an effort now to try to move it somewhat away from the military and more into the justice system, which is why we're going to have to double our efforts here and make sure we're funding the personnel and the program itself. So I will work with that, but we're going to need the cooperation up here to get that kind of commitment.
Great. Thank you very much. As you know, the new president of Mexico, President Enrique Peña Nieto has stated that his strategy with regards to security cooperation is to achieve a Mexico in peace, is what he calls it, and that his government will not abandon the fight against organized crime. How will you work to ensure that areas of mutual interest between the two countries get the attention they deserve, and how we get that cooperation along the border? It just seems to me that's absolutely crucial, is the cooperation along the border. They have 6 border states. We have 4, and it's crucial that we work with each other on that.
Well, President Peña Nieto is indeed trying to move this, as I said, in a different direction. This has been a highly militarized and very violent initiative over the last years. We, you know, I'm a former prosecutor. You're a former attorney general. I was the chief administrative prosecutor in one of the 10 largest counties in America, Middlesex County. And I loved prosecuting. It was a great job. I remember we created a drug task force and had all kinds of, plans for how to proceed to minimize the impact of narcotics on our communities. And one of the things I learned is that there's no one approach. You've got to be doing everything that you need to do. And that means domestically in the United States, you got to do education and you got to do treatment. Because what we have is just a revolving circle of demand, and we're the principal demand country, not alone now. Europe is huge demand. Russia, there are other countries now increasing demand. So cocaine routes and marijuana routes, et cetera, are not just coming up from Colombia and other countries where it's been produced in Latin America and the Caribbean up to here, but it's going across the Atlantic and out into other countries now, and it comes from Asia into other countries. It's pandemic. And so I think we need a more comprehensive approach, one where it's less accusatory, finger-pointing, and you work cooperatively to understand everybody's role in trying to do something about it. I've always felt that this label of war on drugs is kind of artificial because, war implies it's all out. You got to win. And I don't think it's ever been all out. And principally because we've always failed to do our part with respect to treatment and education and abstinence, so forth. So we've got to re-engage ourselves, and I think that would help establish credibility and viability with other countries.
Thank you very much for those answers. Thank you, Mr.
Senator
Chairman.
Paul.